G'day fellas, welcome to a video where we're going to be taking it slow. We're going to be taking a look at the brand new public update preview. This is probably going to be a very long video, so if you've clicked on this and it's like 2 hours, make sure you go sit back, grab yourself something to drink, because we're going to take a look at the brand new public update preview, the September update. Now, this update is available for everybody on Steam. You're able to access it. You're going to need to log in, and there's a couple things that you need to do. I'll leave a link in the description on how to get this. So let's take a look and see what the changes are. Quick reminders, for common questions and answers, go here to the FAQ. To learn how to contact our support team, go here. And with all the updates, certain mods may no longer function as the underlying game code has changed. All right, well, let's get into it. I'm going to pop that link in the chat for you guys. I'll pop it on YouTube as well. All right, so let's take a look at the very first thing that we've got here. New features. Reconnect option for multiplayer games that went out of sync. Now, this is an interesting one. This probably isn't going to be affecting people who are playing ranked, because, you know, if a game goes out of sync, you're not going to be loading back into a lobby, okay? But for those people who play lobby games, playing treaty, this is massive. Now, there's already a way for you to get back into a game if someone disconnects, but this is actually an out of sync, which is a common thing that happens for people. It's a common error. So this is a big fix. This is a really big fix. So when a multiplayer game falls out of sync, a new lobby will be created using a save game with the most common state. Players will be taken to the lobby where they can download the save game and ready up to continue playing. So I think this is a great change. This is obviously a feature that is a welcome change. You know, the only thing that would be shy of this would be stopping an out of sync from happening, and also potentially having a reconnect function for a live game, so that when you disconnect from a live game, you have the ability to reconnect if you start the game back up quickly enough, you know, within 120 seconds, something like that, so that when you're playing those team games, you can come back in. But I suspect that's probably quite difficult to do. So in the meantime, look, I think this is a reasonable option. Indian and Japanese home cities upgraded to have customization. Wonderful. New alpha under development feature, ludicrous zoom out option. Now this is incredibly exciting and a little bit intriguing. The reason why is because I just made a video on YouTube saying that we need to have an option exactly like this for Age of Empires 4. And one of the things that I have noticed is that Age of Empires 3 recently has been taking a lot of inspiration from Age of Empires 4. So the stuff that we're seeing in Age of Empires 4 is popping up in Age of Empires 3. Obviously, I can't say a lot, okay, but there are elements in the new civilizations that are in Age of Empires 4. So I was kind of thinking of it a little bit like a testing bed, and I think that this might be one of the things that they are doing. So let's take a look exactly how far out you can zoom. I've got a screenshot here. So this is a screenshot that was taken by Eaglemut. For anybody unfamiliar with him, he's a community figure, very stand-up guy, knows the technical side of Age of Empires very well. This is what it looks like. So for anybody unfamiliar with what the normal zoom is, it's a lot closer than this. This is the ludicrous zoom. This is insane. This is amazing. I really hope that I've got the option to do this when I'm casting games. I don't think I'm going to be playing games out this far. Maybe when I'm scouting, I might move like my monk out like that, or maybe if there's like a big battle on my screen or something and I don't want to micro, like I'm just you know, rolling over the top of somebody, then definitely I think that this is going to be very useful. But I think like typically my default zoom level is probably going to be a lot closer. I don't know how much closer I can really make it, but yeah, it doesn't really work because obviously the UI doesn't scale down. But I mean, overall, this is perfect. This is amazing. This is really a great function to have. So very excited for this. This is great. Performance and stability. Fixed a possible crash where the game boots, or when the game boots. Fixed a crash when desert warriors attack while in defend or stand ground stance. Fix an issue where the game may get stuck on a black screen. So a whole bunch of fixes. Gameplay. Fix an issue where units would continue to destroy their community or play their unit community plaza animations after the community plaza was destroyed. So a whole bunch of stuff in here. To be honest, I'm probably not going to go through all of it. I'm just going to have a look. There's a campaign one. When attacking units... When attacking units see their target die, they now attack and move to target's location instead of simply halting. Ooh, and I like that they've put in this change was suggested in user feedback. Dude, this is great. This is a great change. So they kill a unit and then they continue to attack move on their way. They don't just give up and stand there like, all right, well, I killed that one guy. Oh, where's the rest of my friends? Who cares? Let's set up camp. What a great change. What a really great change. Fixed an issue where some units' HP resource bars would no longer be visible after loading a save game. Cool. Fixed an issue where the ending cinematic of any of the new African historical battles would not play if the previous mission had been saved and reloaded before it was completed. Fixed a manor house now. Building a manor house now correctly spawns a settler in Act 3. Using a find wagon hotkey and the default hotkey layout will now correctly find a single wagon rather than all wagons. I didn't even know that there's a find a wagon button. I should probably be using that. That seems pretty good. Fix some units with the behavior... fix some issues with the behavior of artillery units. Hold on, turn the music off. This is big. Artillery units no longer restart the transition... Artillery units no longer restart the transition from limber to bombard mode or vice versa when pressing the stance button or hotkey during the transition or when giving multiple attack commands during the transition. Artillery units no longer automatically switch to limber mode when attacking a unit that is not far out of the attack range. Artillery units, Culverin in particular, no longer miss the first shot when selecting a new attack target while transitioning from limber to bombard mode. They fucking did it, boys. They fucking did it. Oh my god, I have lost so many games because of this bug right here. I can literally think, like, I was playing Sweden. Give You Anxiety was playing Brits. The map was Borneo. The fight was at 17 minutes and 30 seconds. He pushed into my base with 2 Falconets, 2 Culverin of his own. His Culverins fired at my town center. My 2 Culverins popped out of my artillery foundry. I tasked them to hit his Culverins and they blank fired. And he killed my entire army because my Culverins didn't fire on his Culverins, so he got the first shot on mine. And I lost the entire game. I can think of like 10 other games that are exactly like that. I'm so glad this is fixed. Like, this is such a huge bug. In addition to that, you know, you guys have seen artillery and just how absolutely silly it can be sometimes. So it is incredible that this has actually been fixed. This is looking good. This is looking really good. We aren't even at the balance yet, and this is looking flipping amazing, boys. All right, fixed an issue where a wall section could not be transformed into a gate if it overlapped an enemy wall with unbuilt fortification or foundations. Yep. The Trek wagon now has an eject button command. Cool. Fix some issues with ejecting units from a container unit owned by an ally. I had this issue in a team game. My ally put 15 settlers in my town center, and he couldn't eject them. And so I had to delete the town center. I was like, well, you know, what would you take, 15 settlers or a town center? I'll take the 15 settlers. So that was it. Oh, units that are garrisoned inside an allied container can now be ejected by the owner of the container unit. Oh, that's cool. That is a cool change. So imagine you're getting raided and your ally puts their vills in your town center and you're like, get out of there, John. Oh, that'd be funny. That would be so funny. Let me in! Let me in! I need to do it. Let me in, meme. Let me in! Let me in! Oh my god, it's exactly that, dude. Oh god, I need to do that. Fix an issue where it was sometimes possible for a player to eject all units from a container unit that is owned by an ally, even if all the container units are not owned by the player. Okay, cool. The eject sound now plays when ejecting units from an allied container unit. Cool. So they really fixed that up. That is great. Those are really good changes. Fixed up some technologies that should be researched when the starting age is set to post-Imperial. So this is deathmatch changes. Wait. British get Imperial Pikemen. Oh, this is in Wait. Imperial Pikemen researched in post-Industrial? What? I'm just gonna, like, do some quick math here, but, like, Imperial Pikemen shouldn't be in post... I think this is probably meant to say post-Imperial. I think this is not correct. I think this means that needs to be Imperial. Swedes. I like it. Your point for this one? Swedes. Wait. Fixed... I don't even know. What does this mean? Swedes. Haudenosaunee. That is your point here. Haudenosaunee. All right, so these are a whole bunch of changes for deathmatch, essentially. If people are into deathmatch, these are changes for those fellas. So those fellas undoubtedly would be very happy. Multiplayer. Fix an issue where players were ejected from a multiplayer lobby when the host set the map type to custom. I can't say I ever ran into that. I don't play a lot of custom games, though, or multiplayer lobbies. Restore player handicap setting on a rematch. Restore player color setting on rematch. Okay, I don't know what that is, but I'm sure those are good things. Hotkeys fixed an issue where Find Town Center Capital would also cycle through a US Capitol building. Okay. Fixed an issue where Find Barracks wouldn't correctly cycle through different kinds of infantry units. For example, if the player controlled both barracks and blockhouses. Oh, that's good. That's a good change. Really, really good change. You notice this with the United States, especially because of the Russian-American companies. You send in blockhouses. So that's a big thing. Fixed an issue where Find Healer would not find a Griot. Fitzbro in the chat, very happy right now, saying that they're getting buffed. UI. The maximum velocity displayed in the unit stat panel UI for a unit when it is in a group now shows the maximum velocity of the group when the unit is in it, rather than the maximum velocity of the unit on its own. That's awesome. That is awesome. So as an example, you might not know whether the group is snared, or as an example, you might be like, why are my units going so slow? And you know, because you've drag boxed like a whole bunch of like musketeers and like a single pikeman that's in cover mode. Well, now you will see it reflected on the UI and you'll be like, oh shit, why is that 2.0? And then you'll be like, oh, the pikeman, cover mode, get out of here. So good change, really, really good change. When playing as the Lakota, Gunslingers, Cowboys, Owlhoots will now show the correct icon after sending the higher buttons. Fix an issue where XP floating text would sometimes not show correctly. This happens quite a fair bit, I think. Fixed incorrect use of image for cancelling Q button on command panel. Fixed incorrect ID reference for some native units in the compendium. Adding age up tech, federal state for USA tech tree. Fixed Hausa, Ethiopia, I'm assuming that means Ethiopia, and USA age up text starting on age 1, move to age 2. Wait, fixed Hausa, Eth, and USA age up text starting on age 1. This is a UI change. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what they've changed there. We'll have to have a look. Fix some incorrect entries for some text in Ethiopia and Hausa tech tree. Added new information tooltips to the mods menu. Fix crash happening in the loading screen as when players attempt to scroll. Fixed incorrect names and icon entry for mosque and imam in Ottoman's tech tree. Fixed field building tech in Eth and Hausa tech tree. Moved from age 1 to age 2. Cool. Fixed inconsistencies with word game type and game mode. Game mode is the correct terminology. The button to spawn a brigade in the command panel for the consulate has been moved to the second row to be consistent with the other buttons. Fixed initial display of HUD not showing Civ-specific details when spectating. Fixed initial display of HUD not showing Civ-specific details when spectating. We'll have to look into that one as well. Art. Fixed issue where sails on ships would sometimes flicker. Oh man, don't we know that? The Melbourne Shuffle. Oh, you love to see that one. They do that all the time. Fix for units with foliage not correctly showing friend-foe outlines for accessibility settings. Fix an issue where the fishing nets would be out of sync with the ship animations if they have them. Okay, cool. Sound. The Yabusami unit now uses the correct Yabusami sound instead of the Yamabushi sounds. I can see why they would make that, why someone would have gotten confused and given that the wrong code. Yabusami, Yamabushi. Very close, and I've often made that mistake. Sounds made by artillery firing and other sounds, but most noticeable with artillery, now have their volume reduced when off screen. Dude, this was actually pretty cool. I always noticed, like, I would hear the shot before I would, like, hear the alarm. Like, let's say your enemy has a fort up, right? And the fort attacks one of your units. It makes a big doosh. And then you hear the... And I would look for the fort before I would even hear the siren going off. That's a really good thing. That's a really good thing. All right, so now we get into the meat and the potatoes of the changes. Now, keep in mind, guys, these changes aren't definitive. They're not final. It's not going to be, you know, I suspect not all of the changes that are in here are going to go through to the final build that we actually get live. This is sort of like a little bit, it's a preview. I mean, it's a public update preview build that we're looking at here. So let's take a look and see exactly what changes they've made. All right, so for balance update, what have they got? They've got changes to resources. So influence has now been adjusted as follows. So 1 influence is now worth 1.25 food. So it's down from 1.3. Therefore, when the game calculates the cost of units or technologies available at native settlements, those with food costs will be converted to a slightly higher influence amount for African civs. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So it's a nerf to Africa. It's not a particularly large one, but it's still a nerf. It means, like, you know, instead of paying, say, 500 influence, you'd be paying, what would it be, like 530 influence, something like that. It wouldn't be a huge amount, though. Settlements with food costs. Sorry, that's different. Fix an issue that sometimes causes influence costs to be incorrectly rounded up. All costs are now properly rounded up or down to the nearest 5. And deathmatch. The following starting resource changes have been made. So Asian civs now begin with 15k food, wood, and coin, down from 20,000, but they also now get 9,000 export. And African civs begin with 15,000 food, wood, and coin, but also get 15,000 influence. So that is it's a good change. I think it's if anything, it's just a nerf to Ethiopia and to Hausa, so good changes. Units and buildings. Okay. Auto training units. It's now possible to pause the automatic training of units, for example, Ottoman villages, Japanese dojos, Brazilian Voluntario da Patrícia, and so on. This allows players to stay in full control over their population space usage. Auto training can be paused or resumed by clicking on the Q icon in a production building. I'm trying to think of a situation where you'd actually want to do this. And to be honest, I can't think of one, but as with everything, it's better to have the option than not to. I'm trying to think of like really niche options where you might potentially have the option to do it. Like, oh, okay, here's one. Oh, but then even then it doesn't really matter. I'm like thinking, okay, if you're at 19 out of 20 pop and your batch of Janissaries is about to come out and you queue one more Janissary in, you pause your villager. But then the thing is, the villager anyway is just going to sit there paused, and then as soon as you build your next house, it's going to pop out immediately. So there's no point in pausing it in the first place. So I don't know. Maybe it's for like treaty? I don't know. In treaty, do you delete villages? Is that a thing? A's11 saying, you can make sure your units don't pop out and die instantly. True. If you've got like Japanese dojos, definitely. I mean, for the Ottomans, you can just rally your villagers to the town center. But for the Japanese dojos, and I guess for the Brazilians as well, you could make it so that it's... Yeah, okay. No, that's a good change. Armors. Armor values are now displayed as percentages rather than as floats. So you'll now see a percentage sign saying 30% or instead of 0.30. So it's a good change because sometimes that can be confusing for people. Added new distinctive icons to more clearly communicate the different armor types. That's a great change. Personally, I never had an issue differentiating between them, but I can understand that people would, especially if they were newer to the game, so another good change. Unit types. Updated several unit type icons for improved readability and added icons for some units which previously had none. For example, hand shock infantry. Area damage fixed an issue preventing floating point, non-whole number area damage values from being properly calculated. For example, after the Italian firearms tech is sent, falconets with 3.75 area damage would have the splash radius properly calculated. Okay, I can't say I've ever run into that issue, but it definitely makes sense. The Ras and Emir. So for anybody unfamiliar with those two things, they are the explorers for the Hausa and the Ethiopia. So potentially we may see a nerfing coming. I suspect we probably will. All right, let's take a look. Respawn rate increased to 120 seconds from 100 seconds. Okay, so that is a pretty significant nerf. African heroes may now only be rescued upon reaching 100% hit points. The hit point threshold to rescue other heroes remain unchanged at 25%. Hold on. The time that it takes for an African hero to reach 100% hit points is going to be longer than 120 seconds. Which means you will never be able to rescue an African hero, and it will always respawn. I don't know exactly what the heal rate is, but I can assure you it takes a lot longer than 120 seconds to go from 0 to 100% hit points when your hero has been killed. That might need to be looked at. I'm not sure exactly why that has been done. I think if you just did this is fine. And just take that out. That is curious. Now, so Raz and Amir now respawn at the military home city shipment point. Previously used the economic one. Oh, I didn't know that. When using the Chaos ability, the African heroes now must be nearby the targeted area. That's a good change. That's a really good change, actually. For anybody unfamiliar, the meta in Ethiopian Mirrors is literally fast industrial and get Chaos. Like, that is it. And you hide your Explorer on the map so they can't find them. And when you see the enemy's Explorer, you Chaos the enemy's Explorer immediately, and you kill the enemy's Explorer. That's literally the meta of Ethiopian Mirrors. That's because, like, Chaos is that chaotic. So it's crazy, like, how much it is. Like, native scouts are really good for Ethiopian Mirrors, because if you can find them, you can just, like, locate the enemy hero and lock it down. It locks it down for like 15 seconds as well. It's like, it's so imbalanced. When Chaos is used on a location far away from the African hero, they will now automatically move to that location and use the ability upon arrival. This will make it more convenient to gather treasures in the early game. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That's true. I guess my only concern is, like, as an example, let's say that you are, like, your opponent has got, like, a whole bunch of military mass here, and your army's over here, and your Explorer is, like, at this point right here, and you Chaos, say, here. Okay, but realistically, and, like, let's say the range on your Chaos is, like, this far. So now your Explorer has to run up to that point. Your Explorer has to run up to that point and cast Chaos. So I think it's going to be one of those things that you really have to be careful with and have to start spamming it, because the other alternative to doing this is something that they do in, like, a lot of MMOs, where instead of this happening, it would just take the direction that you're... sorry, not in MMOs, in MOBAs. It would take the direction that you're casting it, and it would just plonk it on that axis as close as possible. But then, obviously, if you're going after a high priority target, then that may miss out as well. So it might be a good idea to actually put a radius in so that you can actually see the range on the like on the cast, if that makes sense. Hold on, I should probably make a much bigger circle. It would look like something like that, right? So that you can actually see that the area that you can cast it. Kind of like if you've ever played, like, you know, Dota 2, you would be familiar with, you know, Lena. And when you cast her stun, there is an AoE that shows, or an area that shows around that. So maybe that might be a good idea, but it would probably be a bit difficult to implement. But I suspect it would be possible. Arkan Tafuhen and Berber Sultan. The Fealty Aura tooltip of these units now correctly states which units they get improved by. Mill fixed an issue where, after certain upgrades and cards were acquired, villagers ordered to build a mill could place a fully constructed one anywhere on the map instead of a foundation. That is a cool bug. I really hope that people were, like, getting full XP for those as well, because that is crazy cool. We got Big Hello in the chat. How you doing, big fella? Good to see you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Unit icons. The unit icons for Cav Archers, Hark Boosters, Jaegers, Skirmishers, and Ulans have all been updated to further align them with their in-game appearance. That's a cool change. Looking forward to that. The Granary. So this is for the Ethiopians and the Hausa. After constructing a granary, villagers will now prioritize harvesting dead animals before hunting new ones. If there are no nearby huntables, they will instead gather from nearby berry bushes or fields. Thank the Lord. Oh my gosh, how frustrating it was. You drop down a granary, and even though there's 3 dead, you know, hunts underneath the granary, the villager, what does it do straight away? Just shoots its bow at the nearest deer and sends it the opposite direction. It's like, what's the point in making a granary if you're just going to shoot them away? So it's a really good change. This was a really, really nice change. Builders. Builder wagons for universities, palaces, camps, mountain monasteries now transport different cargo to make them visually distinctive. Thank Lord. So many times I have been, you know, you age up and you've got a mountain monastery and a camp wagon, and you can't tell which one is which. And I feel like every single time I always click on the mountain monastery one. I'm like, no, I want the camp wagon. Where's my camp wagon? You always get the one you don't want. So that's a great change. Revolutionary gatherers. Military units available after various revolutions that can gather resources. So Karolian Jaegers, Cowboys, Wanakos. I want to say, is that Wanakos? Or Hagwankos. I think that might be the pronunciation. Hagwankos. And so on. Are now properly counted as gatherers in the UI. That's a good change. Prize bull. Big Benny can now be harvested at a rate of 5 food per second, down from 8. Okay, that's a reasonable change. So for anybody who doesn't know, so Big Benny, when you get him in, he's actually harvested not at the rate that a livestock is harvested, but at the rate that a crate is harvested. And he's 900 food. So it's literally like you're shipping a 900 food crate in Age 2. Obviously, he can be worth 900 wood and 900 coin as well. So, you know, a decent change, a good nerf. Livestock market has now been adjusted as follows. Coin exchange rate. Starting value reduced to 40%, down from 60%. Ooh, jeez. So their max timing is going to be coming in at 9 minutes now. Wow. At least if my math is correct, it might be different. It could be even later than that now. No change has been made to the starting wood rate. Interesting. Selective breeding upgrade cost improved to 75 wood, 75 coin. Good change. Really good change. So yeah, like this kind of changes the early game Ethiopian meta, because like one of the things that people will do, you sell your cows for wood, and then you send Big Benny at 7 minutes, and when he arrives, you sell him and you immediately get 900 coin. So now it's going to prevent that from happening. I mean, you're still going to get a really good deal. You're still going to get an awesome deal for Big Benny. It's still probably going to be like, you know, 730, 740 coin at that same time. It's just if you want to send him at that time, you're going to have to, you know, it's going to cost it. Transhumanists. So it's an upgrade, no longer locked behind selective breeding. So you can just go and get this one without getting selective breeding if you want. A good change. Cow loans is no longer locked behind transhumanists. And the cost has been improved from 500 to 300. That's a pretty darn good change. So you can see that where they're going with this. Basically, they're removing the early game power that livestock has got. They're really taking away from that early, you know, bulk. Because a lot of Ethiopian games that I play, I literally don't make any livestock at all. I use my initial livestock, I ship Big Benny, that's it. And I don't even think about livestock after that. So you can see that they're obviously targeting more towards people who want to play a little bit more economic focused. And I think that's a great change. All right, so let's take a look. The Javelin Rider has been adjusted. So the hit points have been reduced from 210 down to 190. A great change. Train time has been reduced though. So it's gone from 40-second train time down to 35 seconds. Okay, so it's like technically a buff. Melee artillery multiplier reduced from 3 down to 2.5. Okay, curious. That's strange. I guess that's probably about... you know what? I don't think that's strange at all. I think that's reasonable. I think that's fine. It's always a little bit tough when you're looking at things like this, because the Javelin Rider, I think it's very strong in the early game, but I think it falls off towards the mid to late game. I'm not 100% sure though. So I think that's a good change. Desert Archer. So this is not one of the more powerful units. This is one that you really don't see a lot. So it's had its cost increase, so up 5 coin. The long range. Oh, so they've actually buffed this unit. So the range increased from to 22 and ranged to 16. So good changes. So they've actually buffed up the Desert Archer. That's good. Made it viable. Desert Warrior. So the cost has again been increased. So up 5 coin. So good changes. The hit points have been lowered. So from 150 down to 140. So still can't be one shot by Colonial Militia. So don't be too fearful. But at the same time, obviously it has a lot more break points now, being at 140 health. Ranged attack damage has also been reduced from 15 down to 14. These are really good changes. These are absolutely on point with where it needs to be. It's a very good unit, very strong. It's already quite coin heavy, so I think this is a good change. And I think it's important with these changes. You can see they're very slight changes. You know, up 5 coin, up down 10 health, up or down 1 attack. They're very slight, and that's exactly what needs to be done. You don't fucking just go crazy like they did with Sweden. I'm not sure if you guys remember that they literally got like Sweden and they put it out the back and they said, Sweden, turn around. And then you just hear a gunshot and then there's just one person that walks out of the room and it's the developer and he's got the Nerf gun in his hand and Sweden never comes back. Never comes back, man. I'm telling you, those Nerf bullets, they look like they're made of foam, but they are not. They are lethal. So watch out. Santa Horseman, Mercenary, it's been moved from age 4 to age 3. So the hit points have been reduced from 1200 down to 1100. Now available in the Fortress age. I like this change. This is a good change. Basically, this is like the baby Mameluke. It's a baby Mameluke, the center horseman. That's a good change. That is a good change. Zanata Rider. It's been adjusted as follows. Cost increased. Wait, they increased the cost of the Zanata Rider? I always found that unit really underwhelming. Range resistance improved to 25% from 20%. I always found the Zanata Rider to be very underwhelming. So it's curious that they increased the cost. I'm not sure what happened with that, but yeah, I guess if they were strong. I probably didn't really use them a lot, so maybe I can't really comment on it. Sudanese Dervish has been adjusted as follows. Reduce the speed, good. Now inflict 0.5 to artillery, good. Now inflict 0.5 to cavalry, good. Perfect. Exactly what it needed. I think these changes are exactly what it needs. The big thing, obviously, the Dervish bypasses physical, bypasses range resist. And so it just melts artillery. Like, you literally you ship 15 Dervish or 12 Dervish, you one-shot a Falconet. It's so, like, it's crazy. So really good changes there. It's going to make it a lot harder to stay age 2 against civilizations that have got 2 Falcons. So really good change. Also reduce the damage that it does to cavalry. Not by a lot, but I think these are both reasonable changes. Berber Camel Rider. So another native unit. So it's been adjusted as follows. Range resistance flipped to melee. Speed reduced to 7. Honestly, good changes. This unit is really good. This unit is, like, to be honest, it's kind of busted. It's so effective. Like, there are so many civs that open cav and you just open camel riders. And it's like they're the fastest unit. Like, they've got 7.25 movement speed. The only thing faster than these guys are literally Barbary Corsairs fully upgraded. Like, there's nothing faster than these guys. They're so fast. So that's a good change. And also having their range resist flip to melee is a good thing as well. These are really good. Yoruba Esso Riders. So for anybody wondering what these guys are, these are the guys that lose hit points. They decay. They're pretty darn good. So Yoruba Esso Rider, it's a mercenary. Age 3. Mercenary age 3? I thought it was a native warrior. Is it a mercenary? Hit points now decay at 0.75 per second, up from 0.5. Good. If anything, it needs to be 1 per second. Honestly, make it like 1 per second. Cost increase to... It needs to be like an emergency button. You need to have, like, the way it needs to play, you need to have an alliance with the Yoruba, and then you need to have a native embassy in your base, and then you train the Yoruba from your base and use it for defense. They shouldn't be like an offensive thing. Their stats are way too good to be offensive. And if you increase the rate at which they decay, then it's going to make them more defensive. Hello saying echo. Oh, please don't tell me we just got an echo. Hello. If there was an echo, was there a noticeable echo? The quality of the microphone has gone down as well. There's been a few echoes. Oh man, that's so annoying. Yeah, I've tried to diagnose exactly what that is, and I don't know. The honest answer is I don't know. So I'm gonna have to, like, reformat my computer. That's so infuriating. Oh, man, I reinstalled OBS. I reinstalled absolutely everything, but it didn't fix it. It might be the Sugan. Oh, Fitzbro, what is Sugan? I don't know about that. You should tell me more about these Sugan. Sugan these nuts. That's a good one. Nah, I'm just kidding. I knew that was coming. Don't hit me with it like that. Got him. Jenny on the chat saying, just reset the drives to the mic. Probably the best idea. Yeah, I might need to do that. All right, well, let's get back to the Yoruba. So the cost has been increased. Good change. Resistance has been improved. Wait, what? You're increasing resistances? Now inflicts 0.25 to villages. Okay, that's a good change. Siege damage reduced to 15, down from 35. That's a good change. Train speed increased to 22nd, but the Yoruba Warrior Society's upgrade now also improves their train speed by 50%. I don't know exactly what that is. So I don't know how much it costs. I don't know how viable it is. But overall, these changes are appropriate. I really have a problem with the resistance being that high. 50% resist is crazy, man. It's basically just doubles their HP. Like, that's literally what it does. So yeah, pretty crazy. Amazon Dahomey, one of my homies, Dahomey. Population cost reduced or corrected rather, to 3 from 2. Speed reduced from 5 or to 5.25 from 5.5. So still pretty quick. Melee resistance reduced to 10% from 20%. So that's going to make spies better against them. Ranged knife attack initial rate of fire increased to 3.0 from 2.5. Good change. And then obviously that's going to scale down as well at a much higher rate as well. So that's a good change. Siege infantry multipliers reduced to 1.75. Good change. Siege damage decreased from 27 to 35, or from 35 to 27. Good change. Melee damage attack multipliers, increasing range knife attack, now deal 0.5 damage to artillery and 0.5 to all cavalry. Shock infantry multipliers adjusted accordingly. Good change. Corrected light cavalry multiplier to ×2. Note that it stacks with all cavalry multipliers. For example, the ranged knife attack would now inflict a total of 1 times to light cavalry. Good changes. All right, we've got some changes to the Cannoneer, one of the favorites of the Ethiopians. The Cannoneer is a mercenary unit available in Age 2. The damage has been reduced from 30 down to 28. The shipment of 9 has now been reduced to 8, and the shipment of 15 has now been reduced down to 14. Is this going to stop me from sending this shipment? No. This is still a great shipment. These units are still very good. The only thing is, I feel like with the Cannoneer, the problem is that I call it the Gurkha because it looks like the Gurkha, the Neftenya. The Neftenya is such a good skirmisher unit that I feel like I don't even need Cannoneers. Like, I've got other stuff that I need to spend my influence on. In Age 4, I'd rather spend it on the big boy. In Age 3, I'd rather spend it on, my natives. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll see. We'll see. But I feel like just reducing the damage just kind of nerfs. Ideally, you want to hit the shipments, and you don't really want to hit the unit. But yeah, even Joe's in the chat right now. He said it should be 7 and it would still be so strong. Agreed. The reason why it's so strong is because it adds to your composition without costing you the wood that you would have to invest in an artillery foundry. The Ottoman have to invest in an artillery foundry to make Abus. The Ethiopians don't have to do that. They send them from the home city. So they can literally just make a barracks and Abus. And it's an incredibly strong shipment. The problem is, to be honest, the problem is with the shipment itself. I really love the shipment, but I feel like the shipment is incredibly strong. So we'll see how it plays out. We'll see how it plays out. Cards and technologies. African mercenary and native warrior shipments adjusted the number of units delivered by handfuls of cards and age-up alliances. So to account for the influence food value change method mentioned earlier, and also bring a couple of particularly powerful mercenary shipments in line, such as the Cannoneer cards. Zen Meritocracy, tech available at the Zen Temple settlement, now probably reduces food upgrade costs by the intended 20%. And 4 cattle corrected the food total of the cattle delivered to 200 from 250. Oh, they got a nerf. So this directly nerfs the Hausa rush strategy by a significant amount, the equivalent of 200 food in the beginning of the game. So that's massive. Infinite 8 cattle corrected the food total of the cattle delivered to 200. Previously were not fattened at all. Oh my lord, this card is busted now, dude. Oh, this card is so good. This is going to be, like, you are going to see... This is a really good direction. This is a great direction because I'm seeing the changes and I'm loving it. This is... they're focusing Ethiopia and Hausa to be more economic in the mid-game. Great changes. Really, really good changes. This card in particular is very nice. This is worth so much. This is worth so much. Hold on. Like, I need to do, like, some just quick calculations here, right? So you get the 200 wood from the market. Keep in mind, it's an age 3 card, right? So age 3 equals 1,000 res. I'll make these a little bit bigger as well so you guys can see it more easily. So it's 200 wood for the market wagon. And then you get 8x cows that are each... So that's 800 coin. Okay, but those 800 coin is the value for those cows. But those cows are fattened. So it's like... It's so good, dude. Because they're fattened. By the way, this song always blasts me like crazy. I gotta change that song. This is amazing. This is such a good shipment, dude. I wouldn't be surprised to see, like, the new build order is literally like FF at 5 minutes and ship this card. Like, that's how good this card is, dude. It's so good. Oh my lord. All right, let's take a look at the changes. Ethiopians, starting resources. The number of cattle has been reduced to 4. So they used to start with 5. So keep in mind, you kill one at the beginning of the game, and then you put 4 on your market. Now you kill one at the beginning, and you have 3 for your market. So that is a significant nerf already. Let's take a look at what changes they've got to the units and buildings. Gaskenya, been adjusted as follows. So it's had its food cost increased from 65 up to 70. So not a significant change. Range reduced to 12 from 14. Oh, that's big. That is big. This was one of the things that actually made them very, very strong. Just this slight range decrease is really going to throw them out a lot. A good change. Obviously, a very, very good change. A needed change. But at the same time, you know, that's a big oof right there. Melee attack damage is increased to 15, so it was previously 12. Keep in mind they have a pretty good cavalry attack multiplier, so it's actually been decreased. So they've decreased it from 4 down to 3, and the siege damage has been reduced from 28 to 22. Wow. Okay, so some big nerfs to the Gaskenya. Is it still going to be the superpower that it was before? I mean, the cost is still very good. It's still a really nice cost. It doesn't have the range. It's still got 4.5 movement speed. I think it's still going to be a very strong unit. I think it's still going to be very formidable. If I was building my dream civilization and you told me which musketeer are you going to pish, which one are you going to pick? Number 1, I would take the Ashigaru. Number 2, I would probably take the Gaskenya. Number 3, maybe the Karolian. I think probably the Karolian. I'm not sure. I'd have to think about that. That's a good video idea. We could do that. Build your own civilization. How would you guys feel about that? I reckon we could do that. Sebastopol Mortar has also had the speed reduced from 2.5 down to 2.25. That's a pretty good change. This is a pretty decent change. Obviously, the Sebastopol Mortar is still very strong. Still needs to be further looked at, and this is a great direction that it needs to be targeted. Technologies and cards. All right, here we go. Aroma migration. We did a video on this one. So let's take a look and see how they fixed it. Delivers an additional village for each villager lost up to a maximum of 14. So previously it was 20, now it's 14. Also added a food cost of 50 food per villager lost. Oof. So that guy that we covered in that replay, where he got 21 villagers from this, he would now only get 15 villagers because you get 14 plus 1, and he would have to pay 700 food for it. I mean, it's still a good card, but, like, that's a lot, though. I mean, yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Counter Cavalry Tactics, age 3, no longer have access to this card. Oh, this is for the Ethiopians, right? Yeah, Ethiopians. Okay. So they no longer have access to Counter Cavalry Tactics. So this is the one that increases range resist, but also increases attack by 20%. This is a really, really good card. That sucks a lot. Hopefully, I think that might have been given to the Hausa. I'm just going to check. Doesn't look like it was given to the Hausa. That kind of sucks. That's a really good card, man. Bugger. I loved that card. I love cards that are like dual function. Increases defensiveness, increases attack. If you've ever played like MOBAs or like League of Legends or Dota 2, my favorite items are the items that provide you like Zonya's Hourglass. You know, it's defensive, but at the same time, there's an offensive element to it as well in the AP that it provides. So it's one of those things. Anyway, let's look at Era of Chaos. Now unlocks the new Mayhem ability, which differs from the previous Chaos functionality as follows. Enemy units in the targeted area will fight each other. No change. Radius has been reduced from 5 to 3. Effect duration set to 5 seconds for all units. Previously, it was based on kill XP. Ah, that's why. I was wondering why the Explorer took so long to come out of Chaos. It's because it was based on kill XP. And it was 45 XP, dude. No wonder they were taking so long. When the ability... Because, like, compare that to, like, a normal unit that's, like, 10. And they take, like, 5 seconds in Chaos. The Explorer was in Chaos for, like, 20 seconds, man. It was crazy. When the ability is used, the Raz now requires vision of area to use the ability as described earlier. I think that was already the case, but maybe it's different. Note, currently, almost all units which inflict splash damage cannot damage friendly units
When under the influence of this ability, this is a known and existing bug that mostly affects artillery units, but also applies to cuirassiers, macemen, and several other units, which inflict area damage. This is an issue we are aware of. Okay, so they are looking at fixing that. Gel Cells in the chat saying, the shipment of Yoruba riders had 60% bugged instead of 40% like the normal nats, so it's a 10% nerf for the shipment. The shipments. The shipments. Okay, we will get to the, where is it? The down here. This one, the Yoruba. All right.
Hey, Gus!
Oh,
I got something to report to you.
Dreads coming in with the tier 1. Thank you very much, Dreads. Very kind of you, mate. Welcome back for the 5th month in a row. Or just the 5th month, but very good to see you back. So cartridge currency. Coin bounty reward improved by 30% up to 15. And now only affects infantry and cavalry units. I'm curious. Now only affects infantry and cavalry units. I'm assuming that means the enemy's infantry and cavalry units. Like if my big boy shoots a whole bunch of cavalry, or infantry rather, I mean, it probably would shoot a whole bunch of cavalry as well, but infantry, I'm still going to get coin for that. It's just that if it kills a culverin, I'm not going to get that. If I remember correctly, I was getting a lot of coin for killing culverins. It was like, it was a lot. It was like, was it 30 coin or something? I was like, that's pretty good. Like, that's a decent trade. All right. Well, look, overall, the changes for the Ethiopians are definitely needed. Hopefully enough. Overall, they have got significant changes. So already we see that they've been nerfed in a number of ways. So, you know, influence as a resource has been nerfed. That's number one. The Raz and Amir changes. So the respawn time on these guys has also been significantly increased. We see huge changes here to a lot of the units that they share. The coin exchange rate, which at the beginning of the game is going to affect them and reduce their speed a lot. It's also going to prevent build orders, like the build order that Age of Killer was actually using, where he would sell a cow in the early game and buy wood. He would sell the cow when it would hit 251 resources of coin, and then he would use the 251 coin to buy 200 wood. And then that way he would retain the wood starting rate. So it is that's a further... a further nerf to the early game. Good buffs here to their mid and late game. Good nerfs towards the Desert Archer, Desert Warrior, the Senate Horseman, the Dervish. A lot of really good changes in here. I'm very happy with this. I think this is exactly what we need. Whether this is going to bring them in line with other civilizations, we'll have to wait and we'll have to see. I suspect, you know what? It's too hard to know. It is really too hard to know because like this is a really big thing as well. Number of cattle reduced from to 4. This isn't going to affect Hausa nearly as much as it's going to affect Ethiopia. Ethiopia are a civilization you have to be very careful with your cows because you don't get any extra cows. You don't get them from your shipments. You actually only start with your 5 cows and that's it. You got Big Benny. Otherwise, you're going to have to train them. So they're really going to have to, reassess the way that Ethiopia is played. When I say they, I'm talking about players because these are pretty big changes. Hopefully it makes Quick Search a little bit more playable now. Let's take a look at Hausa. Civilization. Starting resources. So the number of cattle has been reduced from 5 to 4. The civilization bonus, the free cattle delivered with each shipment, now spawns at the livestock market. If there is no livestock market, they spawn at the economic home city spawn point instead. Really, really good change. Very, very good quality of life change. And, it was unnecessary before for it to be going to the economic home city point. Made it very difficult. Great change. Units and buildings. Fulani Archer. Long range attack damage reduced from 14 down to 13. Fulani Archers are pretty good. So this is a good change. Lafidi Knight. Adjusted as follows. They reduced the hit points by 30. So from 460 down to 430. Also decreased the damage from 20... Oh, sorry. Increased the damage rather. To 22 from 21. This is a good change. Lafidi Knights are very, very strong. Too strong, rather. And that's obviously been reflected by how strong they were. Very tanky. If I was building a civilization and they said you can pick your melee cavalry, do you want the Lancer? Nope. Do you want the Cuirassier? Nope. Do you want just the standard Hussar? Nope. Do you want the Lafidi Knight? Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, I want the Lafidi Knight. And even after the change, I still think I would want the Lafidi Knight. This is a very strong unit. A lot of HP. Hopefully we see the card reverted to give maybe 15%, because the HP card didn't give 15% hit points to Lafidi Knights. I think it only gave them like 10%, so hopefully we see that go up to 15%. If it goes up to 15, that would give it 20... What would it give it? Like 21 hit points? Something like that? Something like that. 21 hit points, which would kind of make up for that. And then, you know, if you send the card, then that way it's back and standardized again. That wouldn't be too bad. Heavy cannons available from the British Alliance Age Up train time has been improved to 72 seconds from 90 seconds. That's a good change. Very, very long time to train them. Griot has now been adjusted as follows. It now has a default area intimidation effect. I'm clapping. Fitzborough is very happy. So it has a default area intimidation effect radius of 1. But it can no longer intimidate enemy units during the treaty period. That's a fair trade. I will take that trade. I love that it could intimidate enemy units during the treaty period. Can you imagine you playing treaty just sitting in your base and 10 griots roll up and they're like, fine, we need to get on right now. Start playing treaty as Hausa and just do that to meme somebody. That's fucking hilarious, dude. Oh my god, that's so funny. Oh my god, why do I find that so funny? All right, technologies and cards. Oh, someone's asking for the link. Let me help you out, Colonel Vis. There you go, buddy. Psychological warfare indeed. Can you imagine your horn going off all game? It would be so annoying, man. Technologies and cards. All right, champion cavalry. So the cost has been decreased to 600. 600? That's a pretty good buff, honestly, man. This is like this is quite a lot of resources. 800, 800, and like this is a great buff. This is a really good buff. Imperial cavalry also reduced as well. Really, really nice. So great buffs to the late game there of the Hausa, which I suspect are probably going to be needing all the help that they can get in the late game. Let's take a look. So other cards. So we've got 6 Raiders has been reduced down to 5. So they're hitting that all-important Hausa rush. 10 Desert Warriors reduced to 9. Good changes. 16 Yoruba allies no longer have access to this card. Get wrecked. Dude, this is so... Like, I was playing a team game, right? And my ally, like, we were pushing on the Hausa guy, right? He hit age 4, and I just said him, like, get back. Like, immediately, I'm like, just run. Like, run back to your base, dude. Run as fast as you can, dude. Because 16 Yoruba are coming, and they're going to pop, like, after 60 seconds, and then they're going to have the 32 as well. It's like... Just run. Just run as fast as you can, dude. And we just kind of we have to wait out the decay. That's all we can do. Durbar Parade, it's a card in age 3. Now increases the movement speed of Lafidi Knights by 10% and Raiders by 5% instead of improving their train speed. This fixes an issue where certain upgrades cards were acquired. The Hausa could attain instant training cavalry. It's a good change, bad change. I mean, it's bad for treaty, good for everyone who's not treaty. So I think this is pretty reasonable. 10% speed as well on Lafidi Knights is very welcome. I think their movement speed is 6.25, so that should take them up to, you know, very formidable. That's like pretty close to 7 actually. I don't think they've got a 6.0 movement speed, but we can double check that. Does anybody off the top of their head know what the base movement speed is for the Lafidi Knight? Because 10% of speed is quite a lot. 5 says Fitzborough. Shut up, Fitzborough. It's not 5. What kind of horses are you? I thought you Hausa guys had fast horses. 5.5 says Sensei. All right, that's sounding a bit more believable. Axel is in the chat saying it's a base of 6.25. What's Lakota's cap speed? Yeah, exactly. Fitzborough says the first number I could hit on my keyboard. Oh, God. All right. I respect that you guys who are making stuff up are telling me after the fact rather than just letting me wonder the whole night like, what is the movement speed for the Lafidi? It does appear that we've had multiple people confirm it is 6.25. So that means it's going to go up to 6.88 movement speed, which is pretty quick for a heavy cavalry. So that is damn good. I would be happy with that. Soya Skewers now also improves huntables and herdable yield by 15%. Good change. So I can't remember exactly what this was. All I remember is I didn't like this card. I know what it is. It was the 30%. It was the 30% huntable and herdable gather rate card. And I remember looking at it and I'm like, hold on a minute. There's 30% huntable gather rate. If I play as the United States, I can get the Russian-American company and I have the exact same card and I get 2 block houses on top of that. It's like, why the hell would I ever send this card? Now it's just like a crazy, crazy, like super advanced spice trade, basically. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Amina Epic card in Age 1 now grants a sum of influence equal to 3% of the cost of each Lafidi and Raider train so far in that match. So it's up from 1%. So I'm curious to know exactly how much that would be. It's hard for you to like, it's hard for you to appreciate exactly what kind of sum that is. But I suspect that could really start to gather up, especially in like a treaty game if you've got that, and you send it like right as you're starting to right as you're getting to the end. I mean, Hausa takes a really long time to drain anyway, but like if you're starting to drain on influence, you could send it, and it'd probably get a pretty decent amount. Songhai Raider ability unlocked from the Songhai Alliance. Cost increased to 600 influence. Get wrecked. Okay, so now we move down to the Aztecs. So let's do a quick assessment of Hausa. Obviously, they've been hit with a lot of nerfs. They've been hit with some changes as well, but mainly nerfs. Let's talk about how badly that rush has been nerfed for the Hausa. In the next patch, are you going to be getting hit with that big bad boy rush? And the answer is probably yes. And the reason why is because even though they start with 4 cattle, they're still going to eat... They eat... Hold on, what are they going to do here? They kill the first one, so they're down to 3. They eat 2 cattle. They do the 10-10. They've got 1 cattle remaining. They ship 4 from the home city, so now they've got 5. But that has been nerfed. That card has been nerfed so that it doesn't provide the full amount. It now only provides 200. They still get their quick age up. They still send out the camp wagon and still make the tower. They still hit you very quickly, and they still hit you with 9 desert warriors. The shipment comes in, it's 5 raiders. At the same time, they're training the raiders, or the what are they called?
Hey, Gus! I got something to report to you.
Thank you very much, Timbervan, coming in with
Changes? What have I missed?
Oh, Timbervan. You've missed a little bit. You've missed a little bit, Timbervan, just a little bit. You know, a few things, just a smidgen. I do see that we've got Harrison in the chat at the moment, who actually says that apparently they can't build a tower with that wagon, but it is not confirmed yet. So we'll have to have a look and see. Gel Cell's also saying 20% less coin from selling the first cow, though. You do eat with the Hausa, the build order. You don't sell for coin until right before you change, or right before you exchange. So I'm kind of thinking that the Hausa rush is still going to be a problem. It's not going to be any slower. It's still going to hit you. It's going to hit you with 1 less raider, or one less desert warrior. The follow-up after it is going to be 1 less raider. It's still going to hit you with the 5 desert cavalry, or whatever they're called, the desert raiders, I think they're called. So it's still going to be hitting you with the 5 desert raiders coming in first. And then the main thing that it's going to affect is the follow-up that happens with the Songhai. So the Songhai cost increased to 600. So you're still going to get hit with a. I don't think you're going to be able. I don't think you're going to have enough to do the Songhai. It's going to get nerfed. It is 100% going to get nerfed significantly. I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be strong. I don't think it's going to be overpowered though. Because one of the things that you need to consider, okay, is that rush, it relied on a lot of timings, okay? So you had like, let's get the notepad out, okay? So you had like, you start with 5 cows, eat 1, and then you eat 2. Then you have 2 cows remain. Ship 4 cows from home city. And then, so now you have 6 cows. Oh, I think technically you have 7 cows, but 6 of them are fat. Okay, and then you send... So then you age up. You send... Or you age up with... what is it? What's the... With the tower. with Songhai. The Songhai Slammer. So you age up with Songhai. So you still get the gold. You get the wagon. You get the ability. So ability has been increased 500 up to 600. So you send shipment 10 Desert Warriors, which is now 9 Desert Warriors. You train 5 Desert Riders. I should probably just spell it out. It's probably easier. That is still the same. And then you research Songhai Slam, aka Songhai Raid. So now that 4 cows or 5 cows becomes 4 cows. Eat 1, 2, 1 cow remains. Ship 4 cows from home city. 200 less food, by the way. 7 cows, 6 fat. It's actually 6 cows, 5 fat. Age up Songhai. Send the 9 Desert Warriors. Train the Desert Raiders. Research the Songhai Raider. Ability has been increased. So it basically, your initial impact is only going to be reduced by 1 Desert Warrior. But your follow-up is going to be significantly worse. Because I will posit that you should be able to... but then... you also... sell for coin. So sell cattle for coin. So that's gone reduced by 20% as well. There's a lot of aspects to the rush that have been reduced, okay? And it's all in the early game. Like, I don't know exactly how it's going to work out because there's so many aspects of it. But my suspicion is it's still going to hit hard. It's still going to hit fast. And it's still going to idle you at 4 minutes 50 or 4 minutes 45, whatever ridiculous time it is that they get units out. But I don't know how you can... I don't know how it can be changed. Terrock9 saying, did you know that enemies can eat all of your cows tasked on the market just at the beginning of the game? You know what, Terra? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. But you know, that's I should have thought about that. I think like I have watched incredibly good players hold this, but even myself playing Ethiopia, I have difficulty holding the Hausa Rush. I was watching Give You Anxiety's stream, and he just like said very, very casually, he's like, oh, the rush is strong, but it's not overpowered. In his accent, that was his accent. And I was like, all right, like come on, GUA, like, put your money where your mouth is. So Aze snipes him, Azamk, literally like one of the pioneers of this build order, snipes him. And GUA holds it, man. He holds it with like a batch of muskets, a longbow shipment, 6 Minutemen, and the tower in his base. He doesn't lose a single villager. And I was like, damn, like, this kid's got game. Like, I was so impressed. I was like, you know, that's crazy. But, you know, it's a great point Minimold makes. He says in the chat that holding this now just means that the game is over. And I think that's 100% right. It also significantly nerfs the version that Azamp actually does, which is the one that sends in the... it does the follow-up, and basically you hit with a later but a larger amount of units, and that is with the influence... you have the influence to ship the dervish. So that is a... Look, we'll have to see how it goes. These are... Gel Cells in the chat saying, didn't he lose 1 villager? I think you might be right, Gel Cells. I think he may have lost 1 villager. You know, when you're in the heat of the moment and you're watching the GOAT, like, pulling off that kind of stuff, you know, who's really counting 1 villager, mate? Who's counting 1 villager? But, you know, it was pretty epic. It was pretty epic. Look, I'm happy with these changes. I still think this rush is going to hit hard. I think a lot of people are going to complain about this rush still, just like people complain about the Japanese, in EP. It's going to be that exact same thing. But these changes are definitely in the right direction. And if it's still a problem, then the next patch after this will come and hopefully it will fix that, further. But these changes are all in the right direction. To be honest, I wouldn't want to go any further than this. If somebody came up to me and said, hey, Drongo, I saw that video. What do you think about a change for the Hausa where all of their age ups take 10 seconds longer? I'd be like, nope. A's in the chat saying he's still lost that game, by the way. Mods, take him outside. Take this guy outside. Give him the same treatment that the developers gave to Sweden, all right? Take him out of here. Take him out of here. All right, let's move on. Aztecs. Units in building. Puma Spearmen adjusted as follows. This poor Puma, always getting changed. Cost improved. Dude, they're buffing Aztecs? Cost improved. 45 food, 45 coin. From 50 coin and 50 food. Hit points reduced. Wait, what? So from 135 to 125. So it was killed by the town militia anyway. It's still killed by town militia now. It's just you still need town militia to kill it. Siege damage is reduced by 1 from 42 to 41. But the 6 Puma card has now been increased to 7. Not gonna lie. I like it. I like it a lot. That is good. That's a good change. That is a really good change. That's big. I can see it right now. Oh my god. Aztec are gonna be busted with this, dude. Dude, you have no... Okay, I'm gonna explain to you guys why this is such a big change. Bringing out the notepad again. You have 7. Okay. What's the difference? What's the difference between 6 Puma and 7 Puma? A lot. And the reason why is because your 7th Puma is always your last Puma. 7th Puma equals always last Puma. And you might be like, what do you mean it's always the last Puma? All right, well, let's say you send 6 Puma to go and burn, or to go and like siege, go and siege a TC. Or a barracks, all right? And that's got 2,500 HP. And let's say they do, just hypothetically, okay? The first one does, let's call it 50 siege. The second one, and they all get 1 shot, all right? Let's say the town center is 1 shooting them all. So the first spearman does 50 and it dies. The second one does 100. Then it dies because it got to take off 2 swings. The second spearman takes 150 and then it dies. The third one, rather. The fourth one, 200. The fifth one, 250. The sixth one, 300. Now, this is all the siege damage that has been added up as the town center was shooting down the barracks. The 7th spearman did 350 damage. And this is why this shipment is so damn strong. Because it allows you to get that extra amount of siege out that you never would have been able to before. And that can be the difference between getting a barracks down and not getting a barracks down. Your opponent getting skirmishes out and your opponent not getting skirmishes out. A house going down and it not going down. And those kind of breakpoints are really what make or break the game in the early game. So the difference between the 6 or 7 Pumas, you guys might be like, it's 1 Puma, bro. It's a lot more than 1 Puma. In fact, it's the equivalent of 1, 2, 3. 3 Pumas in reality when it comes to what you're looking at for damage over time. So it's important to consider that when you're looking at a buff like this and exactly how much this means for the civilization. Now, obviously, there's -1 siege to offset that, but at the end of the day, the argument still stands. Good changes, though. Good changes. Hopefully, that sees the Aztecs a little bit stronger. To be honest, I think they're actually in quite a good spot at the moment. I feel like you guys might laugh at me. This change honestly makes them, like, it will bring them up to S tier. I am not kidding you. I am not kidding you. This single change will bring them up to S tier. You watch. You watch and you see. I guarantee you, dude. This will take them to S tier. This is big. The Pumas in particular just make this so strong. British. Units and buildings. Longbowmen line of sight increased to 26 from 24. I don't know where this change came from. It's a little bit out of left field. You know, there were a lot of rumors about British getting nerfed in this patch. British actually got buffed, so there you go. United States technologies and cards. Team Louisiana purchase now spawns 3 bison at each town center, down from 6. Cost oh my god, they massacred my boy, dude. Holy moly. Okay. Do you still go this? Yes, you still. So the question is like, what do you? Like, at what point do you stop? Or where is the break point for a card? At what point does a card get nerfed so much that you don't send it? And if you told me I can spend 1,000 coin and get a town center for me and all my mates, and every single town center that we've got gives us 3 bison, which is 1,800 food. Oh, sorry, 1,500 food. Yeah, I'm taking that for 1,000 coin. Fuck yeah, that is still one of the best team cards in the game. This is up there with like Team 3 Villagers. That's how good this card is. It is insane. It is still absolutely ridiculous. 2v2, obviously it's not going to be as powerful. If you're teamed up with someone that's playing, say, the Lakota, and you do the classic State Militia Bow Riders together, then I think it would be incredibly strong because they typically have a lot of food upgrades, so you can very well synergize this with those upgrades. Obviously, it's not as strong as before, but I still think it's quite strong. Over the course of the game, you might have, say, 4 town centers. That's 12 bison instead of 24 bison, so still a significant amount of bison that you've lost out, but at the same time, it's pretty good. Echo, oh my god. I hope the sound quality hasn't been reduced. Team 3 settler wagons? It's Team 2 settler wagons. Team 3 villas is for Aztecs. Nice try though. Nice try. Look, so overall, for anybody who missed it, the highlight of this patch, undoubtedly, is this right here. This is called Ludicrous Mode. For anybody unfamiliar with Ludicrous Mode, the Tesla originally had the Ludicrous Mode. It was basically, a button that you pressed that would enable your Tesla to accelerate as quickly as possible. And now I think they just call it Plaid Mode. This is exactly the same. This is Ludicrous Zoom Mode. It enables you to zoom out the maximum amount. I'm going to put it into full screen just so you guys can really gauge exactly what you're looking at with this. We'll put it like this. I'll get it all nice. That's exactly what it looks like right there on your screens. It's pretty darn crazy to think that you can zoom out this far. I can't wait to spectate games where I am sitting in a replay and I'm watching a game unfold right here and I'm zooming out this far because I'm just going to be able, I don't even need to change like perspectives. I can literally just like drag down to the other side and just, I will never need to click on the minimap again. I can see everything with this. It's awesome. It is absolutely insane. Now, keep in mind, you can't play like that. And I'm not going to be playing like that all the time. There might be times when I play like that. But overall, I think this is an incredibly good change. I'm super duper excited for this. This looks really, 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 really fucking cool. Fellas, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have, make sure you leave a like. If you haven't, I don't know what's wrong with you. You're crazy. Leave me a comment and let me know why. But hopefully it's been a long one. I think we're at about 90 minutes right now. So I think that might be right. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.